The Merchant Sales Podcast is brought to you by Valor Paytech, the payment technology company that is revolutionizing cash discounting. Valor Paytech is a processor-agnostic solution with all of the omni-channel features you're looking for: standalone terminals, mobile devices, desktop, gateway, e-invoices, all with cash discounting and surcharging in mind. I would encourage you to take a moment to get a free demo of Valor Paytech. Head over to ccsalespro.com/Valor, V-A-L-O-R, ccsalespro.com/Valor, V-A-L-O-R, to get your free demo today and to watch videos and read information about this amazing new processor-agnostic omni-channel technology solution. Well, Patty, I think we had a great episode for everybody today, don't we?
Oh, yeah. I never realized that the technology had gotten that sophisticated as what Badger Maps is doing. I mean,
Yeah, the routing and the mapping and all that. It's just like being a field agent now can just be so much more efficient than it was, 8-10 years ago when I got into it, and
even 3 or 4 years ago,
Yeah,
you
big
don't have to
difference.
sit there and pore over websites or yellow pages to find what that,
Right.
and you can, to me, what I really liked about it is it's such an efficiency play.
Right.
Much more,
I agree.
much better use of your time.
Yep. And then, of course, you talked to us about the new Chase, program that they have with card acceptance.
Right, QuickAccept. It's for very small businesses, but it's a very slick kind of thing.
Yep. And people need to be aware of our competitors, what's going on in the marketplace. Then I talk about just when you first get into the industry, how do you get started as a merchant sales rep when you're coming, new to the industry, and what are the steps that take to do that? So I don't know about you, Patty, but
and even
love
if
it.
folks are just now getting into our podcast that are just getting into the
Yep.
business, listen really closely to what James says. He has a lot of experience. I thought it was really great advice.
Thanks, Patty. Well, with that, let's dive into our interview with Steve Benson from Badger Maps.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Merchant Sales Podcast.
All right, everybody. I am here today with Steve Benson. Steve is the CEO at Badger Maps. How you doing today, Steve?
Fantastic. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So, Steve and I had an interesting kind of back and forth conversation over the last few weeks, and I decided this would just be a great interview for the podcast because what we're going to talk about today is how field agents can really become a lot more efficient by leveraging mapping and routing technology that's really come a long way. But before we do that, Steve, I definitely want to hear your backstory. So can you give us a few minutes of kind of how you got into this and how you ended up starting Badger Maps?
For sure. Yeah. So I guess after business school, I ended up going to IBM, and then I went to Google. And at Google, I was working with their enterprise software.
Mm-hmm.
And an area that I ended up focusing on was Google Maps and working with the Google Maps API. And I was also doing things on the mobile side with Android. And so I had a background in field sales, and so I understood some of the challenges that
Sure.
reps face around figuring out which customers and prospects to focus on given where they're going to be. So the routing and planning and element of their day they have to go through. And so I realized that if you could solve this problem on a mobile device with maps and with kind of modern technology, it would be a real benefit for a ton of salespeople. And it's kind of the same problem I'd always had when I was in field sales of, well, I've got my calendar and I've got my Rolodex/CRM and I've got
Your notepad.
my map. It used to be on
Sure.
paper, then it became on Google, Google Maps. And but to bring all those together in one application on the mobile device would be extremely powerful.
Sure.
And so
Sure.
that's what I ended up I could see that was going to be possible a few years down the line, and so I started the company in 2012, and it started out with kind of a very basic version of it, where we were just helping people understand what their territory looked like and where different types of customers were,
Mhm.
and then we started layering in the routing
Sure.
and layering in the other pieces.
I like that. So you
lead
kind
generation, et
of
cetera.
saw things developing that direction. You knew the technology was going to be there to really make something cool, and so you started building it. And
Yeah. And the original, the phones just weren't fast enough at the time to do what I wanted to do, but
Right.
they were going in that direction, and I could tell where they were going to end up in a couple of years. And so I was able to skate to where the puck was going, as opposed to where the puck was, as Wayne Gretzky always talks about.
I like it. I like it. So my first question for you, Steve, is I want to kind of frame this conversation. So we have a really unique industry because we have all these 1099 reps. There's literally like thousands of salespeople that I know personally that every day are getting in their car and they're driving somewhere to go prospecting. So give us the big picture. Why should they and their leaders be interested in this kind of technology and kind of becoming more efficient through this? What do you see as kind of the major pain points and why they should be interested in this topic?
Well, if you're able to go out into the field and focus on the right prospects and customers and organize your time efficiently, you just end up driving a lot less. And you end up spending more, and you can take that time and spend it in front of customers. So even if we weren't kind of helping you make better decisions around which customers you were focused on, if this were just a routing solution that it helped you think through kind of where you were going to go in the day and in what order, and what traffic would look like and what the scheduling would be, like how long does it take to get from here to here? Do I have time to go over here? Just the time that you save with the planning and the time that you save, the time that you save behind the wheel, that alone makes this a kind of a no-brainer to have. It's just a calculator for salespeople like that.
Right.
But then when you layer in, and I'm also focused on the best customers, it helps me make decisions on who to focus on. That's where the biggest piece of value is, I think. And as I can design my week, who am I going to focus on? As I design my month, what is the cadence that I'm following up with people on? That's really the reason they should care, is that they end up, the result is they end up driving about 20% less in terms of miles, and they end up getting in front of about 20% more customers.
Right.
And those customers tend to be better customers, so you end up selling a lot more. So whether you're the people that are, whether you're the company that is enabling the 1099 reps to sell your stuff, it's definitely in your best interest to have all your reps be more efficient and make more money and be more successful. But even if you're just the 1099 rep, this becomes a pretty powerful tool on the belt that saves you time and money and just allows you to sell more and make more money and be more successful.
Yeah,
it's really an efficiency play then, right, Steve? I mean,
it takes, if you have 10 salespeople, then it makes it feel like you have 12.
Right.
It's just, it makes, it gives you that extra reach.
Yeah. You know what's so interesting about this, Steve? When I was looking at the technology and kind of doing some homework, getting ready for the podcast, I at one point was asking myself this question, like, okay, how would I have leveraged this technology 8 years ago when I was out in the field selling full time if it existed,
Right.
And I'll tell you what's funny. What actually dawned on me is I was doing all of the things that your technology is, does. And the way I was doing it is I was paying a full-time employee, called an assistant, to literally plan every aspect of my day. And then that was taking my time as well to manage that person and to like build these processes out of like, okay, I went somewhere, I need to like put that somewhere. I need to decide when to come back. I need to make sure that when I do come back, I have other prospects in the area. It's like all these things. Right. And it's like, I love that technology has gotten so far that I literally could have just been with an app on my phone rather than a person, Yeah,
it's crazy. To do this well by hand is possible. It just takes a ton of time.
Yeah.
To do it poorly by hand takes a half hour, like every day to do. But if you have a tool that's just, doing all the long division for you, then then all of a sudden it's a 5 to 10 minute task to do it a lot better.
Right. Yeah.
And it's one of these classic, like, there's an app for that now type situations.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, to do this well, when I was planning my time, I'm kind of anal about this sort of thing. Like,
right.
I mean, I'm a maps guy, and
right.
and B, I'm just like a spreadsheet guy. And so I spent a lot of time doing this and optimizing it. But even then I would, like, things would fall through the fall through the cracks, and I'd be very annoyed.
Oh yeah, and it's just inevitable.
And so
there's no way
like
around
I'd be like,
it,
I just drove over there, and now I totally could have gone just 10 minutes out of my way and saw this guy, but now I've got to I've got to fly back to this city or drive 2 hours out of my way to do this. And it was, it really annoyed me, which is why I left Google to build this product.
Sure. Well, those are the best products, the ones that we build to solve our own problems, I think. So, okay, so let's dig in a little bit deeper. So I know our listeners are probably, we've piqued their interest, but they're like, okay, well, what exactly does this thing look like? So let's talk about a day in the life of a sales rep. So, again, merchant sales reps, they get in their car, they go out, they're going to prospect, let's say 20 businesses. So they want to walk into 20 businesses. How does your technology facilitate that for them to maybe target specific business types or whatever, specific geographies, and kind of route that so that it's efficient? How does the targeting part of it work?
So the first thing is that a lot of times salespeople have data in different places. So a merchant sales rep may have a spreadsheet of information. Their company may be providing them with a CRM system. If it's a CRM, if the data that they already know, so let's just say they sell stuff to gift stores, and maybe they sell a line of candle products and a line of paper products, like little books or something, and they sell both of those things to stores, and sometimes they just sell this product, sometimes they sell another product, but the first thing they know, they already have data about the territory that they're in, that things they already kind of know. So they know who their existing customers are. They know prospects that they've talked to in the past, but they haven't made a sale. They know certain things, and that data lives somewhere. So it could be in a spreadsheet, could be in a CRM system. If it's in a CRM system and a company's buying this, we'll just connect to that CRM system, which is a pretty easy thing for us to do at this point.
And then that just pulls that data into your mapping technology.
Exactly. So this kind of becomes a way of visualizing and seeing all that stuff that's in the CRM, but in a really useful tool. If it's in a spreadsheet, we just take the data and upload that spreadsheet into the system. And once again, now the data is very useful in this tool.
Sure.
So once the data is in there, the sales rep is able to see on the map all the places that they'd want to go in the next, let's just say, week. And then they're able to take their finger and just draw, on the map, okay, I want to see these 15. Or maybe first they want to eliminate using filters. Maybe they have a field of, okay, I don't want to sell to this type of store right now. So the stores are one of these types of 6 stores. I want to make all these disappear off the map. If they have this characteristic or this characteristic, then make them disappear. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe they want to, okay, if it's got this and this, that's really, I've got a great play running with them right now. I really want to focus on those.
Sure.
I want to make, in the next week, I want to see everyone in the territory that has this characteristic combined with this characteristic. And that's kind of that's the skeleton of my
now, what
route.
about,
like I want to be here and here. So I'm
sure.
Then they're planning out Thursday. They set appointments or maybe it's drop-ins, either works. But they kind of start building their schedule on that. And then they might look for other types of data that is not something they already know. So we've got
that's what I was about to ask you about.
Connected up with data sources that allow us, if it's got kind of 4 walls on it, if it's got a roof over the head and 4 walls, we generally know what commercial activity is going on in that building. So is it a dentist office? Is it a gift store? Is it a tire store? What is this thing? And so you can bring up in Badger, you can overlay over your existing data. Okay, I sell stuff to these gift stores. Show me all the gift stores, or show me all the convenience stores. Show me all the dentist offices. Whatever it is, we can then, now you're seeing your customers, and you're also seeing this layer of information about these prospective customers that you didn't know about.
Right.
So then you can start adding those in, these new leads of companies and gift stores in this case that you would be able to stop by. Now they take their finger and draw the line for Thursday, and draw one for Wednesday. I'm going to go to this area. Thursday I'm going to see these guys, and then it automatically generates this route for them and says, okay, well, this is the order in which you should see these things.
Right.
And sometimes they have constraints. Maybe they have a meeting at this time with this person. It can accommodate for that. and then it builds them out a whole schedule that says, okay, well, this is how much you can get done in a day. Maybe, we're telling you how long it takes to get from here to here. You can say, oh, this is going to be a 20-minute meeting. This is going to be an hour meeting. And you can design your whole schedule for the whole day. And then when you're actually doing it, it gives you a very clean way of going through your whole day and taking notes and capturing information with as few button taps as possible, and just speaking into your phone and speech to text, and all that information is captured. If you're connected to the CRM, all that data is pushed back into the CRM system. And just so, in case people aren't familiar with that term CRM, it's like Salesforce or Pipedrive or Microsoft Dynamics, the software that companies tend to keep all of their information in.
Right. So let's unpack this just a little bit. So what I heard you say is, from a prospecting perspective, I'm trying to go find people that I haven't talked to before. You're saying there's two data sources I could utilize. One would be my data source, which maybe is a list I purchased from Info USA that's in a spreadsheet. I could import that, or I could connect to my CRM and pull that in. And the other thing would be, maybe I don't have any of that, and I'm just saying, hey, I'm going to go out to this area anyway to do maybe an installation, but I want to go to 20 businesses as well, and I really would like to go to either pizza shops, or I'd like to go to hair salons. So show me all the pizza shops and hair salons, and then I can kind of draw a map around that, and it'll route and say, hey, I need to be at this install for 2 hours, but then I want to go to 20 other pizza shops and hair salons nearby, and you're saying it's going to route that as efficiently as possible. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's going to help you decide, is this the right kind of hair salon for you to go to? Because maybe you sell a high-end hair product, and so you really only want to go to the high-end ones. So Badger's going to say, okay, well, there's a hair salon right here, and here's its phone number, here's its address.
And does it give you things like
here's
revenue?
What the outside of it looks like.
Does it give you like revenue numbers and stuff?
Picture of each place, and so they're very quickly able to take a look at the website and be like, oh, this is a low end hair place. They're not going to carry my stuff. Or conversely, oh, this is a high end hair place. I really want to go here. So that's it helps them make decisions about where they're going to spend their time. And it allows them to do that very quickly and efficiently. So when they're actually executing in the field, they can focus on selling and getting more done.
Sure. So basically, like for agents that would be listening to this podcast, they're selling credit card processing services or point of sale systems primarily. So maybe they have like a scheduling software, but they only want to go after larger salons that would be able to afford a point of sale system. And you're saying your system would allow them to kind of identify, hey, here's the larger salons versus the really small ones.
Exactly. And different businesses all need to look for different things, focus on different things. And so we've needed to build this in such a way that's very, very versatile and flexible for different types of people to be using it in different ways, different workflows that they need to execute. But that's exactly what it supports.
Can I just ask them, Steve, you mentioned something that I found very intriguing. You can look at these, say, at hair salons, right? And you can click and see what their website looks like, what the front of the store looks like. I mean, that to me would seem like a really interesting angle. Is that just sort of automatic? You just click on a button and it's like, here's JC's hair salon, and you can say, oh yeah, okay, that looks like it might be a big enough salon that they want a full scale system.
Yeah, we have data around like and we purchase a lot of this data in bulk, right? Because we have 5,000 customers, and so we're able to do things. We're able to negotiate deals that end up being a very one-off company wouldn't be able to go and get access to this information because it's more expensive, right? When you're doing it for 5,000 at a time, it's bulk rate supply, and so there's no charge in the system for you to do that, right? Once you have Badger, you can look up all the hair salons you want, right? And there's the monthly fee for the software in total, and that's $50 a person or $49 a person. But after you've paid that, you just get access to all the new leads you would want. The types of data about the new leads that we have are like, so you ask for hair salons and you're looking at a town. You're like, okay, well, I see there's 15 hair salons in this town. You click on it. You see its name, its address, its phone number. Often we have the hours of operations. We'll have a picture of the front of it. What else do we have? And then, and the website. So should it have a website? And then once you go over to the website, it can become you can see everything, right, about
Right.
whatever they make available.
Right.
And sales reps, they're always they're experts in the type of things that they sell to, and so they can in 2 seconds they generally know what they're looking for, and they make the call. Yes, this is somewhere that I do want to see. I do want to stop by this place, or no, I don't. And so they end up seeing 7 places in the town instead of all 15, because they didn't need to see the other 8 were going to be worthless to them. They needed to see these 7. They knew that.
Right.
And so that's an area that we save a lot of people a tremendous amount of time, as well as
Sure.
is on their lead gen, help, allowing them to do the research and understand what things look like before they actually show up.
Yeah, I like that. And being able to do that from their phone obviously is really nice as well. So
yeah, you see a lot of people just like sit in bed in the morning and plan out their day.
Right.
I think the best thing to do is to do a week at a time or so, and kind of like, so sit down on Monday morning or Sunday night or whatever, and kind of spend an hour planning out the whole week in the most efficient way possible. But some people need to be more reactive and need to do this on a day-to-day basis. And this is built for them too. And also a lot of people just have the types of roles where they, get a phone call from this customer and they need to go over to this customer, and it shakes up their whole day.
Yeah.
And so, which is why a lot of people will just like, okay, so I have to go over to this customer right now. They go and they just whip out Badger afterwards. Like, okay, what's around here that I should be doing, or what's on the way home?
Right.
Because, I'm an hour and a half away from my house, but it's 2:00. I want to use the next 4 hours in as efficient a way as I can.
Sure.
Given that my whole day got kind of screwed up by dealing with this customer. And so it's designed to be like, okay, here are the 4 things that you should be swinging by in the next 4 hours.
Sure. So my next question is, I kind of want to take the follow-up aspect, but I want to combine that with a question about CRM. So we've talked about CRM already, Pipedrive, Zoho, Salesforce, etc. But what I'm curious is, where is that line drawn as far as your technology? What can your technology do in terms of tasks, notes, file storage? I mean, does it do any of that? Like, at what point does an individual rep, obviously organizations are going to want a CRM and they already have that, but if just an individual sales rep, one person that wants to use it, can they just use your system, or are they going to need a CRM to do some like very basic, tasks and notes type stuff?
If it's just a single person, then they can just use this. It kind of depends on their workflow and what they need to do. I mean,
sure,
you can save So we have what's called a check-in, and a check-in is when you go and see a customer, the data that you want to collect, and it's different for everybody, right? It's customized for you. You choose, like, okay, I want a field that asks me, is this a XYZ type of customer now that I've been there? Is this were they interested in this? Did I speak with the decision maker? Maybe they want to take a picture of some aspect of their business, and so you can take all that and save it into the check-in. Now, every CRM has that, right? Like they have they have that ability to like capture information about a meeting. But when you do it in Badger, it's just, if it is sunk up with your CRM, if it's connected, then it just sends that right across, and so you can just do it right kind of in the same interface that you're clicking through your day on. So yeah, I mean, in that case, it's duplicate with this. It replaces what the CRM is doing, but it also enhances what the CRM is doing if you have a CRM. So we don't do everything a CRM does, but we do a bunch of the things that a CRM does. And so it just depends kind of on the workflow that the rep needs.
Right.
I don't position this as a CRM system. I position it as an enhancement tool to CRM systems.
Right.
Like if you needed to do mass emailings or something, you could do that out of your CRM. You can't do that out of Badger, but you can collect information about your customers and make decisions about your customers, enrich data about your customers, that sort of thing.
Just out of curiosity, is there a particular CRM that you really like that's already integrated with Badger, like Pipedrive or Salesforce, some of these others we've talked about?
Yeah, I mean, so I think that the one of the most popular CRMs is Salesforce. Often for like that's not the right choice for like a single sales rep, in my opinion. I mean,
I agree.
Obviously this is opinion, not fact, but I think that's more of an enterprise CRM system, meaning it's for a large company to do large company things.
Right.
If a rep just needs a place if a rep is more more concerned with more day-to-day activities and it's just them buying it, that's probably not at all the direction I would go. I would go with like more of a CRM like Zoho or Pipedrive or HubSpot has a really HubSpot's a great simple CRM.
Yeah, it is.
That is a single individual can just spin up. I mean, all of these CRMs kind of their goal is to get a whole company, and that's where they make their money is once the whole company starts using something.
Sure.
Insightly is a nice one, especially if you have project management needs that are kind of associated with your business. It's kind of half CRM, half project management system almost.
Yeah, I like that
but
one too.
Microsoft Dynamics is I would also put that in kind of Salesforce's bucket of like enterprise class systems. I would say the same about SAP's CRM, NetSuite's CRM, or anything from Oracle. That's kind of all enterprise side, so not appropriate for a single rep to go out and try to get.
Right.
But I mean, CRM has really matured a lot in the last few years, and they've brought those products a long way. But if you're trying to design your day and collect information and save information about your customers, kind of your calendar system, your follow-up system, we have you're saving data about a customer. Those types of blocking and tackling CRM things you can just do in Badger. And then if the company eventually gets a CRM, because they want to do more enterprise class things, then you can always just click Badger into the CRM.
Steve, can we talk about pricing for a bit? I know you kind of alluded to it a moment ago, but I'd just like to kind of drill down on that. I'm sure it depends on the size of the organization, but especially for the individual rep, what would they pay?
Yeah, well, for the individual rep, it's $49 a month if they're buying it a year at a time. It's $59 a month if they want to just do it month to month. So there's no commitments or anything. So that's one of the easiest things to do is just like, so we'll set this up for someone. There's not like a lot of work to do at all. Like if you just, you can do it yourself too. Like if an individual rep it's set up so that they can just figure it out themselves. Like, but if they want one of our agents to do it for them, they can certainly do that. But yeah, I mean, you just basically send us your spreadsheet and we'll set it up and you're on your way. They'll train you and stuff, and we've got a bunch of videos and stuff showing you exactly how to get the most out of it. So you make sure you understand how to use the lead generation tool, make sure you understand how to build a route, how to use the filters, that sort of thing. We have like someone will jump on the phone and walk you through it. But
all of that is for $49 to $59 per month.
Yep, $49 if you're buying it a year at a time, $59. And there's no commitment on that $59. So you can just buy it for a month. I mean, well, there's a free trial too. So you can just do it. You can just have it set up, look at it and see if you like it and try it out for a couple weeks. And then if you like it, buy it for a month and then do it for a month. And there's no commitments or anything. But yeah, so that's $59 if you're doing it month to month, $49 if you're doing it, 49 times 12 if you're, which I think is
right. So like $600, a little less than $600 a year.
Yeah, if you're buying it for a year at a time. And then if it's when companies purchase it, it's just they pay per sales rep. So if they had 10 sales reps, it would just be 49 times 10 for a month, right? If they had 100 sales reps, I mean, we have. There are big companies that have hundreds and hundreds of sales reps. And so for them, it's just number of sales reps times that number.
Right. Sure.
And big companies tend to buy it on an annual basis because they have the capital. So it's usually, times 49, not times 59.
Right. So it's a fairly simple pricing scheme.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. We've tried to make it really simple and transparent for people.
Cool. So Steve, where would our listeners go if they want to learn more about it and potentially sign up to try it out?
They would just go to badgermapping.com. And we have people that will jump on the phone with you and walk you through it, and get you all set up and kind of we'll really we've set it up to really hold people's hands through the onboarding process, because different people have different levels of comfort with technology. Sure. And so we've tried to make, we have a big team of people that their whole job is just to answer questions,
sure,
show people things. There's actually a big team in the Philippines that does sends answers to emails and IMs and questions and stuff. So if you ever are unsure about how to do something, they're kind of they're staffed around the clock. So they'll get back to you within like 5 minutes. And 5 minutes is the goal. Sometimes on like a Sunday or something, we'll miss that goal, but usually it's within 5 minutes, you'll get like a little video and an answer to your question and that sort of thing. And you can always set up a time to talk to an actual person. We've got a big team in Utah that that's where kind of I put the call center, and where people can, you can call in and get helped and have someone walk through any element of the software at any time.
Awesome. Steve, super interesting stuff. I know a lot of our listeners are going to be checking it out because they want to be a little bit more efficient out in the field. So, man, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. And hopefully we get a lot of our listeners going over to check out Badger Maps.
Yeah, let me know if I can be of any help. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just look up Steve Benson, Badger Maps. But I'm happy to help in any way I can. But it's been really fun being here.
Awesome.
Oh, it's been fun talking to you, Steve. Thanks.
All right, everybody. As you know, our sponsor for the podcast is Valor Paytech. You can go to ccsalespro.com/Valor, VALOR, watch some videos, and schedule your free demo. Patty and I are going to take 2 minutes, and today we're going to talk to you about e-invoicing with SMS text messaging. And so, Patty, I know we were both really kind of blown away by this feature. We got the live demo.
Right.
And so really this idea, I thought it was such an interesting take on it, is that a lot of these businesses like pizza shops and others that are doing phone orders, they spend like 30-40% of their time just waiting to get payment information.
Right.
And so could you talk a little bit about what this feature does with Valor Paytech to help them, basically eliminate that time investment?
Well, what I like about it, what I thought was really cool, there were a couple things I thought was really cool. First, that it allows for truly contactless transactions.
Right. Sure.
I mean, the demo that they gave us, it was like, you go to a restaurant or you call in for takeout. That's what it was.
Right.
Call in for takeout. They send you an SMS text and you hit pay.
Right.
And that's basically all you have to do.
Right.
There's no contact between the clerk and when you go there, you don't have to do anything except pick up your pizza. Right.
Exactly.
And I think, people, I'm amazed at how many, in recent conversations I had with people, as to how much they don't want to hand their card to somebody anymore.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. And it's also, I think, moto businesses, it saves them a lot of time because it speeds the payments, but it also eliminates PCI compliance issues. Because the card numbers never get handled by anybody.
So let's zoom out real quick then and make sure they understand exactly what it does. So I'm on the phone with a customer. I'm a pizza shop employee, or I'm a mail order, telephone order type situation, large or small transaction, doesn't matter. And I say, hey, it's going to be $32.19. I can immediately search by phone number to see if that customer is already in my database.
Correct.
If they are, I just say, I'm assuming you want to use card ending in 2292. And
maybe
yes.
they say, no, I want card ending in 3331. Oh, yeah, that's on here too. Fine.
Exactly. Right.
Yes.
Or they might say, maybe they're not in the system or they want to use a new card. In that case, all you do is put their phone number in or their email, either one, click send, and it actually in real time sends them a link, and you say, well, I just sent you a text, click that link and go ahead and pay for the order. And then you jump off the phone, they're able to click the link, pay for the order, and then it puts it through the system. So there's just no more of that time.
You just go there and they either mail out your thing in a few minutes, or you go there and pick it up.
Right. And then, of course, with the Valor Paytech, they have the back office set up really nicely as well, so you can see all those payments in real time coming through. They can, all of that good stuff. So, yeah, pretty cool feature, Patty, right?
Yeah. And the other thing that I thought was really cool that I just remembered was when you get that little text message, right? There's a little customer response or
the smiley face.
The smiley faces. I mean, it's kind of cool though. It's like service was good, service was mediocre, service was excellent. In my demo, I hit service was excellent. They sent me another text back and said, "Thanks, Patty. Glad you really liked it.
Right.
Come again."
Right. So
that's great for
getting that engagement,
customer relationship management. I mean, it creates a stickiness, I think.
Awesome. Well, hey, everybody, take a moment, please, and head over to ccsalespro.com/Valor, VALOR. Make sure you fill out that form there, and Valor Paytech will reach out to you, give you a free demo, and show you all the cool features that exist there.
Yeah, I think you're gonna like it.
And now, Here is Questions from the Field with James Shepard.
So, Patty, I got an interesting question in our Facebook group. For those maybe listeners that you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, feel free. Just go to Facebook, search for CC Sales Pro Community, and we have a private Facebook group there. I think we have about 1,200 agents in there now.
It's a great resource.
Yeah,
I really enjoy reading because it's like people throw out some really interesting questions.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah. And, one of the questions I got there that I've also gotten many other places, but this question of, I'm brand new to the merchant services industry. What do I do? Right.
Yeah.
And so, this idea of like, how do I get started? It can seem overwhelming because it's like, okay, well, which point of sale system do I offer? Which types of businesses do I go after? How do I prospect? All these things. And what I wanted to share today is really just a couple things. And what I look at is kind of a step-by-step process, very simple, of how to get started selling payment processing. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Number one, you need to get a very basic understanding of how the industry functions, how it works. You can go to ccsalespro.com/training to get a free 14-day trial of a bunch of courses. You can just go to our YouTube channel and get free stuff. You can go to the Green Sheet and read all of their resources. So there's plenty. It's not like when I started. I mean, there's plenty of free resources.
Plenty of free resources out there.
So, you can learn the basics. I like having it organized as courses, but either way, get some basic knowledge. When I say basic knowledge, you should spend about 4 or 5 hours, watching video content, getting some basic ideas of the industry, maybe a day or two, but certainly no more than that. Once you have that basic knowledge where you could just go out and at least talk to a small business owner about payment processing, you know more than they do about it.
Right.
So now what you're going to do is now you need to establish your prospecting habit. I've talked about this many times on the podcast, so I won't belabor the point. I think the easiest one is just, I'm going to walk into 20 businesses a day. And you kind of establish that foundation. And what's going to happen is, as you go out and walk into 20 businesses a day, you're going to very quickly look for the information that you need. For instance, you might be in the Facebook group, hey, I got a question from this person. We see it all the time in there, can I integrate? Just the other day, a rep in there, can I integrate with Lightspeed, point of sale? It was new
I
to
saw
the
that
industry.
one. Mm-hmm.
And the answer is no, you can't. In his situation, it didn't make any sense. So we're, 3 or 4 of us that are industry veterans are like, put a terminal on the side. Here's how you set it up. Here's what you need to do. So, you can kind of channel and get the information you need. But here's what I see a lot of salespeople doing. I see, 2 different kind of extremes of this or mistakes that they make. The first extreme is trying to go out and sell with zero knowledge. You sat through a 1-hour webinar with your company or a 2-hour webinar where they basically pitched you on the leasing their terminal. That's not enough. You do need to kind of like understand, okay, when I swipe a card through a terminal, you need to understand what's happening behind the scenes. And, if you don't know what role the banks play, the card brands play, and the processors play in that, you need to know that. That's not enough information. You need to have seen a credit card processing statement before.
Right. Yeah, that's really real. I mean, to me, when I had written about payments for years.
Right.
Started getting into the credit card field, and that was one of the first things I had to do is look at a statement and figure out what are they doing when they're saying they're doing a statement analysis.
Exactly. And so, like for instance, I have one course I did on how to read a processing statement. I think I have maybe 5 or 6 different types of statements in there, screenshots of them, just like, you look at it and you kind of know what it is, in general. You don't want to look like an idiot when they hand you a processing statement, So I see a lot of reps kind of making that mistake where they're literally learning nothing about the industry at all. So, I would challenge you there. You're probably not even listening to this podcast if you're in that boat, but, I would really challenge you to make sure you have a basic understanding. And then the second mistake, and the more common for our listeners, is those who are like information overload, Oh,
yes.
And here's the best way I can explain it. Even if your full-time job was to learn as much as you could about payment processing, you could never learn everything about payment processing, right?
Correct.
It's too big of a field.
You and I have been in this business forever, and we still don't know everything.
I'm surprised all the time.
Always learning something new.
And so because of that, it's like, well, how do I know what I need to learn? By taking action. When you actually go prospecting and you start talking to merchants, you're going to go, oh, well, I don't know that. I need to know that. And what's going to happen is you probably only need like 2 or 3% of the knowledge that exists in the whole industry, but you're not going to know which 2 or 3% you need until you go out selling, because you know, your situation is unique. Your geography is unique, you know, your niche,
your prospects are unique.
Exactly. So, you know, you need to get a feel for this. And yes, that means that you may end up looking like you don't know what you're talking about. And, you know, in the first few, and that's okay. That's why I recommend using this amazing concept in sales called honesty and integrity, and telling people the truth. If you don't know what you're talking about, don't go in and say, hi, I'm a payment processing expert. No, go in and say, hey, I've just started this new business. You know, I'm a payment, I'm a payment processing company here in the local area. Just started the company, so I'm just kind of getting my feet wet, and I'm just out having conversations with business owners. How do you feel about your current solution?
And what are your needs? What needs
what are your
not
pain points
being met?
Right, exactly. And then have those conversations. Then from that, well, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, great. And then you're going to say, what a great question. As I said, I'm just getting into the business. Let me do some research and I'll get back to you. You know, there's no shame in that at all. People appreciate that honesty rather than you just trying to sound like you know what you're talking about when you don't. So don't be afraid to get out and take action. So my advice to you is, if you're like, I'm brand new, I'm trying to get going. I was successful selling real estate or cars or insurance, and now I'm doing merchant services. Get a basic amount of learning. Again, you should know, what do the banks do? You know, what is interchange? What is the dues and assessments? You need to know what the processors are doing. You need to have seen some credit card statements.
Charges are, you know, what PCI compliance is all about.
Right. If you don't know what tier pricing is versus interchange plus, you know, things like that, you know, these are concepts you need to have a general, and again, you can get that understanding in 4 to 8 hours of video watching of either myself, go to the Green Sheet and read articles. You know, there's plenty of resources. So get that information, then take action, and take action consistently. Don't go out there and go into a bunch of businesses and then stop for a week. Just say, you know what? I'm going to walk into 20 businesses every day, or I'm going to make 40 cold calls on the phone every day, and just do it every day, 5 days a week. And I promise you, you're going to learn what you need to learn very quickly, because if you know you're going to take that action, then the result of that is, or the byproduct is, you're going to say, you know what? I better learn what I'm talking about. And you're going to learn only the things you need to know, which is perfect, because that's the efficient way to learn things.
And it's also a numbers game, like you say, make 20 calls a day, you know, and accept the fact that you're not going to make 20 sales a day.
Right, exactly.
But eventually one of those is going to, you know, it's like the fisherman, right? You know, you keep casting the line, and then finally you do catch a fish.
Yes, indeed. So there you go. There's your tips if you're just getting started in the industry.
This is the Insider's Report with Patty Murphy.
Big news this week out of Mega Bank JP Morgan Chase. A new small business checking account that takes direct aim at Square and Clover.
Okay.
PayPal, some of the fintechs, but Clover being the one industry response to Square, shall we say, right? But you know, apparently, you know, the way it's been put together, businesses use their Chase mobile app to activate this new thing they're calling QuickAccept. That's what the product name is.
Okay.
And then they can manually enter or card numbers, or capture them using hardware that supports taps, dips, and swipes.
Right. It's like just like a Square reader, basically.
Basically like a Square or the Clover Go reader, you know? Right. But the slickest aspect of this, I think, is that there's no complicated sign-up process. Payment acceptance capabilities can be unlocked with just a few clicks.
Right. Well, and that's because they already have all the information on the business, because it's a bank account
because
holder.
They're a customer.
Yeah.
And that's why they're also offering free same-day funding to their Chase accounts.
Right, and it's 1% with Square, right? 1% for same-day funding.
Right. I think it's like 1.5% for Square.
Right.
Okay. So you have 1.5% for things like Square. I think PayPal is similar. You know, Square does offer a debit card feature where merchants can have the funds posted same day to their debit cards.
Right.
But then the money's all tied up in a card.
Exactly.
It's not in a checking account.
Right.
So they have to use that card to access funds, right?
Sure.
So this is a lot better than that.
Yeah.
The per transaction pricing is about on par with Square or Clover. It's 2.6 plus 10 and up for a tap, dip, or swipe transactions. 3.5 for a keyed in transaction.
Right.
And the card reader is $49.95, which is about the same as
Sure.
what it would cost.
You know, what's funny? The thing I was going to say is, one thing that strikes me about these new entrants into the marketplace, and even including Square in this, is that, I think if you're trying to compete for very tiny merchant accounts, let's say less than 5,000 a month in volume,
5,000 a month, right?
I don't know if it's really difficult to say it's worth it anymore. Just because your competition, I mean, it's like, really, do you want to go after a merchant doing 3,000 a month? And it's like, well, with Chase, I get same day funding for free. Do you want to compete with that? No monthly fees, same thing with Square, this flat rate. So, I mean, I think what's interesting about it is I think the idea of, our industry, I think it's like we, to some extent, and maybe people will disagree with me, which is fine, but to some extent, I feel like we have to recognize that what we have to offer, our expertise, our higher level of service, our custom technology solutions,
right?
We really are starting to get out of, it's almost like we've in some ways lost the battle for these tiny merchant accounts, which frankly have really high attrition anyway. And the margins are very slim. And it's almost like these pure technology companies are almost better suited, I hate to say it, but really are better suited than this direct sales model of the ISO to go after these tiny accounts.
Oh, I agree. And I think the banks too themselves are better equipped.
The banks are better equipped than Square, which is a big advantage for them. I'd rather let them fight over it though,
Yeah, let them fight over it, right?
Right.
And the other thing though I see, and maybe people will disagree with me on this, but I think that when you get those tiny merchants, the ones that are doing $2,000 or $3,000 a month, when you get them on board with something like this QuickAccept, right, or with Square, then they get sort of the feel for card acceptance. And as they grow, it's like, this solution doesn't quite meet my needs. But now they become targets for an agent or an ISO that's looking to build a portfolio.
Right. It's like,
and that's what I think. It gives them sort of the, one of the things that Chase said when it announced this is that, this is an all-in-one solution that beats cobbling together services from banks and fintechs, right?
Right.
And here's a quote I thought this was an interesting quote from Jen Roberts, CEO of Chase Business Banking. Checking accounts are the transaction hub of a business. So we brought together the essential elements of paying in and paying out into one place. And I think that's what these real, micro businesses, for lack of a better term,
right. That's what they want.
That's what they're looking for. It's an integrated system, and everything is available at their fingertips.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because I think it does, for those, our listeners, I think for our audience, it definitely speaks to number one, targeting. You want to be going after probably the slightly larger accounts and start to get away from those businesses a little bit that are really small. To your point though, as those businesses grow and they are doing 7, 8, 10,000 a month in processing volume, at somewhere along there, they're going to say, well, it'd be nice if I could track my inventory. It'd be nice if I could get a person on the phone when I needed help. And, there are going to be those things where all of a sudden it's like, we do have an advantage over these fintechs and over the banks.
Right.
But, I think it speaks to targeting, but I also think it speaks to, features that we need to be thinking about as ISOs. The same day funding is something that I think
that's going to be big.
Yeah,
I think that's getting really big.
I think 12 months from now, everybody in our industry is going to offer that.
It's going to offer it. I agree with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was interesting too, when I was, reviewing the press release and I talked to a person at Chase, and I thought what was interesting was one of the stats that they threw out in their press release, which was sort of illustrated why they felt this was necessary. Credit and debit card sales among small business customers, Chase's small business customers in North America, grew by 6% between February 2019 and February 2020, but fell nearly 50% in April.
Right.
And so they see this as like, hey, here's a way to help you guys with your cash flow, and it keeps them committed to the bank.
Right.
For sure. I mean, it's a sticky service.
It really is.
I also wanted to mention about the pricing, because I thought this was interesting.
Okay.
Chase says they'll waive the monthly fee on any small business customer using this QuickAccept.
Right.
That maintains a $2,000 in average daily account balances, processes $2,000 in QuickAccept payments a month, or spends $2,000 a month using Chase Inc., which is its small business credit card. So that's I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, maintaining 2,000, that's not that hard of a thing to do.
How much is the monthly fee? Do you know?
Yeah, where was that?
Is it a nominal amount, or like is it 10
Yeah, it's
bucks,
a nominal amount. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see.
Yeah.
I believe. Well, yeah, I believe it was something like $29.95 or something like that.
Oh, so I mean, it's it's a little, I mean, for somebody doing 500 a month in processing, that's a little bit more. That's a good amount. You know what I mean? That's something that they're going to be considering.
But the whole idea is that, okay, but if I keep 2,000 in my account, I'm not paying anything.
Which of course is great for the bank, because now they can use that 2,000 as leverage to make loans.
Exactly.
So they're going to make their money back on that, and then some.
And then and it's also and they're going to make loans to those small businesses,
right?
That are that are using their service, because it's just it's a sticky. I think it's a really sticky proposition for a bank.
Yep.
To go after these I mean, I have a very small business. I would love it if my bank would offer something like this. I mean, like, not that I take a lot of credit card transactions. I probably take 2 a month if I take that, right? But the idea is I can keep 2,000 a month in my account and get free service.
Yep. For sure.
So yeah.
Very cool.
And then I just want to be clear that for this to work, you have to have a Chase business checking account.
Right, exactly.
Okay. But here's the thing I thought was interesting. Chase said they have 3 million small businesses using their business checking account.
Right.
And they're planning to convert what they said is a large portion of these accounts to the new product. And that they're targeting businesses that ring up less than 500,000 a year.
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, I mean,
that tells you, they're just going for these small guys. But if they have 3 million that are doing that, that really says a lot for what I call the electronification of small businesses.
Yeah. For sure.
And I think that some of those businesses, I mean, if I were one of those small businesses and I was using Square and suddenly I could use this other thing for free.
Yeah. And because those smaller businesses aren't really using much of the Square technology. I mean, Square's advantage in this situation would be their technology platform. I haven't seen all the Chase stuff, but I would assume that Square has a massively better technology platform as far as inventory management, reporting, etc. But, for a lot of these smaller businesses tiny businesses that are not using that, it becomes kind of a no-brainer to, hey, let's get our money immediately and let's tie it in with the bank and get a better deal. So no-brainer.
Maybe we'll even get better loan rates.
Sure. Well, and this is good. I think it's good just for our audience even just to be aware of these programs, so that when you are talking to that really small merchant and they say, I'm using this new, what is it called again? Chase? What is it?
QuickAccept.
QuickAccept. So when they say I'm using Chase QuickAccept, now you know what it is. So thank you as always, Patty, for keeping us in the loop.
Sure thing.
This episode of the Merchant Sales Podcast was brought to you by Valor Paytech, the technology company that is revolutionizing cash discounting and surcharging with innovative features like dual mid support, waive the fee options, and even adding non-cash adjustment charges to tips. Now, all of this is made possible by a variety of technology devices and solutions such as gateways, tabletop point of sale devices, and features like SMS text messaging and e-invoicing, all with cash discounting in mind. Valor Paytech, bold ideas, smart execution. Make sure you head over to ccsalespro.com/Valor, VALOR, ccsalespro.com/Valor, VALOR. Schedule your free demo today and watch videos and learn more about this amazing technology solution.
Thank you for listening to the Merchant Sales Podcast. Whether you are an industry veteran, processing executive, or just trying to learn about the payment space, we appreciate your time. The Merchant Sales Podcast is a joint production of greensheet.com and ccsalespro.com, and we hope you will tune in next week for more information and tips on building your merchant services business.